Oh, landmines and jellyfish. Welcome back to Knives, I guess, and this funny video intro is a Patreon exclusive. But we did a live stream today because I got bored. And we went in on the Albatross cool flipper. That wasn't a good throw. But this thing wound up being a bit of a mystery, but let's take a look at what we got first. And most importantly, the pocket clip is tip up, which is the Lord's carry. It's reversible. You've got FRN textured scales. I don't know how well it'll show up on camera, but they got some cool texturing on them. We got an axis lock. We got a flipper tab. Let's flick the bean. 3-inch blade. And I got this back in 2022. Okay, so that is relevant in a second. But before I got my Benchmade bug out, I was looking at axis locks. I went through a couple of Ganzos, and then I was like, I want one with a flipper tab. I like flipper tabs. I like back flippers. And that with an axis lock was just high fidget factor for me. And of course, the action on this thing is just buttery smooth. And so when I bought this, okay, I would swear hand to God on a stack of something important that the listing said VG10 Damascus. And because I remember being excited about it, going VG10 sounds high end, and I didn't really know a whole lot about a whole lot back then, so I thought, fancy. Which VG10 really isn't. It's nothing really more special than your CR steels or D2 or anything like that. You know, it's pretty baseline. But the listing now says modern Damascus and won't say what kind of steel it is. And we discovered that because, like, we were going in thinking VG10 the whole time. And first off, the factory edge was not great. It would have been serviceable for EDC for most people and done most things competently well. But trying to push through that cardboard, it really, really did not like it. It was more tearing and rolling out and nastiness than it was actual cutting. So we got about 10 minutes in. I was like, screw it. We're reprofiling it to 18 degrees and seeing how it holds up. Now, after the 18 degree edge on that Walmart Ozark Trail axis lock, like basically tripled the edge retention, we figured, all right, we're going to be here all day. Nah, it took about 2 hours to wear out. That really shocked all of us. And like, I know guys have said that somewhere like 12 degrees is the best one for VG10, so we may have to revisit this later just to see. Not knowing exactly what this steel is problematic for that. But I mean, and at 2 hours, the edge wear was pretty catastrophic. Like, it would still do a fairly clean cut on copy paper. You could see it start tearing out that cardstock, but on the cardboard, oh no, it was tearing, not cutting. And like, I don't have answers for that because I really don't know what the steel is exactly. I know when it was sharpened to 18 degrees, it happily cut for that 2 hours until it really wore out. It also stropped back up very sharp, very fast. I'm going to venture a guess the HRC isn't what's advertised because they said it was like 58 to 62 HRC. I kind of have my doubts there. Like, when I had the Work Sharp Precision Adjust out, okay, we did our thing with it, and every time I finished off on one side, the burr on the other side felt nice and tight and crisp. Like, it felt good. That didn't give me any indication that this was going to wear out that fast. You know, it took a while to reprofile, but it also did shave down pretty fast. So I've got a feeling it's not what they advertised for the HRC. And of course, this is from, you know, over 2 years ago. So that's an old listing, and God knows what they changed on the listing for that thing. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of a disappointment because I really do like this thing. As a daily carry knife, it treated me really well. Everything on it performs pretty well. Like, no major issues there. And it got caught on my lanyard bead. But I will say the other thing that happened is I'm thinking it's because it's a pretty pronounced and deep hollow grind on here. A lot of those cuts took a lot of force to push through. A lot of those cuts were really, really hard to push through. It wasn't comfortable. And what this did is an area where there wouldn't be major ergonomic issues turned into major ergonomic issues. So like this right here isn't necessarily the most crowned over. And of course this area right here is a small hot spotting area. But when pushing as hard as I had to get a lot of those cuts, everything in here just lit up. I mean, it lit up like a Christmas tree. So, I mean, after a while, it kind of calmed down a little bit, and it seemed to start cutting a little better after a while. That also might be me just kind of improving my grip and shifting around until the cuts did get easier, which is the most likely case. The long-term effects is this doesn't feel nearly as rough as it has off of other knives off of the same 4-hour streams, and I don't have fingertips that have gone numb, which is nice. On a lot of these streams, at the end of it, I got like this right here or this right here. Sometimes this right here will be numb for a couple of days, and I don't know why. But I don't have that with this. So that's a positive mark in its favor. I paid $32.50 for this, and they're on Amazon for like $35 now for the fancy modern Damascus version. The poverty spec with 3CR is like $16, which that's a really good deal for something like that. Like, as long as you don't mind the 3CR, if it functions the same way this thing does and does all the things, then yeah, $16 is a great deal for, you know, something along these lines. You get you an axis lock, you get you a flipper tab, you get buttery smooth action. Like, that is smooth. And you know, it's definitely a nice carry out of the box, especially if you're on a tight budget and can't really blow like 50, $60 on something. Like, this will get the job done and you won't have problems out of it, unless you're doing a bunch of really heavy hard cuts that you shouldn't be putting 3CR through anyways. But you know, we got through the 2 hours, we stropped it back up. So we started and we got about 20-30 minutes in, and then I reprofiled the whole thing. We got another 2 hours in, and then we stropped it back to life, put some more time in on it, and then come time to wrap it up. It didn't have a lot of wear on it, but I went through the stropping grip progression, and I charged the strops with fresh diamond paste. So it is as sharp as it was when we got done in the first place. I just hit the support for this thing. Oh well. But we'll take a look at the cuts from this thing. So we got that, and we got this right in here. Almost as sharp as it was. But, you know, it picked up a really good edge off of a very short stropping cycle. You know, granted, I had the fresh compound on there, but, you know, it still cuts good. And, of course, it's struggling because I'm trying to hold this weird under the camera, as always. And I will say, one thing that this had going when I picked it back up is there was a chip in the blade. I don't know where a chip in the blade could have come from. It's not like I put these things through a bunch of hard use. I didn't cut staples with it or anything like that. Like, I don't know where that could have possibly come from. But that was also driving me nuts before we put a new edge on it. Like, I don't understand where that could have come from. I don't know what I could have done to cause that, but there was a chip in the blade. And I will tell you right now, when you're doing the cuts on the paper and starting to play around with the cardboard, you feel that chip every single time you make a cut with it. And it drove me up the damn wall. Yeah, I don't know where that chip in the blade came from, but it was there. But, you know, it didn't do bad, per se. Like, we've had other steels that, you know, crapped out after 2 hours. 8CR will crap out after 2.5 hours. And because I don't know everything about everything, I don't know if VG10 is supposed to be a little bit softer and tougher than CR series steels, kind of like S35VN is a little bit more soft and more tough than, say, S30V or something like that. You know, I don't know. Maybe one of you guys knows more than I do. Or this just isn't VG10, it's like 3CR or something like that, but it's not identified, so I can't say for sure. The dark part of the etch on this didn't really wear out. Like, that's still in good shape, and there is wear right here at the top of the hollow grind where it passed through the cardboard and you got some scratches in the steel. So it's definitely not, it's not up there with D2 and 9CR from what I can tell. So yeah, you got scratches in the exposed part of the steel. You don't really have any wear on the dark part right here, which I don't know what that is. I would think if it being possibly an acid etch and a carbide layer, then you know, that definitely would have worn off. Like, this right here was a ferric chloride etch on this thing right here. And you can kind of tell there's still the nice carbide layer right through here, but up here where it's been handled the most and seen the most action, the carbide layer is definitely worn off a bit. So, like, the carbide layers on Damascus can wear out. And you would think 4 hours of cardboard cutting would do that, but it didn't. So there's a lot of unknowns about this thing. You know, it's just, that was the experience with it. And of course, I like to share the aftermath of Cardboard Slayer with you guys. And if you like what you see, the $16 poverty spec version seems like it's a really good deal for something you can carry and beat on and possibly be an abuse and abandon knife or a travel knife. You know, something that will take care of you, and if you lose it, break it, or something else happens to it, oh well, it was 16 bucks and you can buy another one. But, you know, there's a lot of unknowns here, and I wish I had more answers for you, and I wish I had enough knowledge to really pick apart what the hell happened here, but I don't. So, maybe one of you guys knows more than I do and has a much more firm answer on this, but, you know, all that being said, thanks for looking at my crap. Subscribers, you guys are awesome. You keep coming in, and I genuinely appreciate it. You know, we hit that 1K mark. The stuff's been mailed out for the giveaway. Y'all should have that in your hands soon. Hopefully, we are well on our way to picking up steam and getting towards 2,000 a lot faster on this next one. But, yeah, comments. I love some feedback. Let me know what you think about this thing, or if you know anything about what could have happened here with this particular session. And all that being said, y'all have a nice day.